which is better than he did in FP3 and FP1 and FP2. So Gasly is finally making progress. It's all coming together a little bit better. Albert now starting to do absolute best in sectors as he comes to the end of Vale. Goes left, and then it's goes over the timing line. Albert is fastest, 1:26.392. And it's Albert 1:26.392. Let's get at the top of the times.
In theory, we should see everybody on the soft compound Pirelli, but I suppose somebody might out on the mediums, just hoping that it gives a little bit more grip. If they stay out there, there's a possibility of that. Would you say that, Jeremy, or not?
I think it's tricky to make it half the time work in the course. I think the softer ones here, the safer bets, just to get the lap in.
Now Max Verstappen is onto a flying lap.
Makes his way onto the Wellington straight. They had him on the road. He's Oliver Behrman. He needs to qualify ninth to not be on the back of the grid with his 10th place grid penalty. So Verstappen goes through, and unsurprisingly, the absolute first sector for the world champion, 27.7. But Antonelli not far off through the first sector, 27.76.
Two purple sectors for Max Verstappen coming now down towards Stoke Corner. He goes into the right-hand side. He's looking at something best in the 26th. The ball to the top of the times. Clears the traffic at the end of it. He goes down now. He breaks the beam. He goes about 26.0. He goes fastest.
So we're some way away from that, but even so, we're fairly close. So how much do we get? We should get down to that.
You think some of these big cars will be using a use
But there's the possibility, isn't there? There's the possibility. I don't know how many sets they've got right.
26.002. George Russell goes fifth on 1:26.283. Ollie Behrman is on the lap. To put him on the road, but Bracken kind of thinks so limps across the line. Yeah, you can see that vibration at the back of the car.
Pinto. It was only 0.6 of a second between the whole lot of them in that first part of qualifying, so it was really tight.
And it is going to be just as tight, I suspect, with the 15 that we've got onto the circuit now. 30 seconds or so, it's got busy. Right, Verstappen onto a flying lap. So we can sort out a little bit of traffic on the first part of the lap here.
Yeah, I think it compromised his run out of fun. Maybe let it go quite as wide as he wanted to, because he came across the McLaren who was just in the pits of Lando Norris. But after that, it's clear. So he's onto the Wellington straight, heads up towards Williams, and going to get top speed of nearly 200 miles an hour before he breaks and goes through the first sector.
And of course, does an absolute best because he's the first person onto a proper push lap within Q2. So
Yeah, all looks good so far, nice and tidy, and
indeed, so goes through the corner then now. The Red Bulls look so good through Becky's this weekend. Does he do something this time?
Yes, well, no, actually, because he hits the curb weekend, the back end gets a proper one-on for Verstappen.
Right, he saved it, so he comes to the end of the middle sector with another absolute best. He's the pioneer, of course, he's the first one. across to the end of Vale. So Max Verstappen then comes down to he's about to break the lead. Max Verstappen does a 125.3. Lewis Hamilton then up towards the timing line. Lewis Hamilton 126.109. Lewis Hamilton's second fastest. The margin 7 tenths, nearly 8 tenths of a second between them.
Verstappen about the gearbox, he said the gear didn't really
Piastri goes across the line and goes second fastest. Oscar Piastri. But because Verstappen did it earlier, he is given the higher position. Yeah, so the Williams are up there. Isa Hadjar goes 6th now, ahead of Hamilton and Leclerc. Sonoma is
Norris needs to keep an eye on. He's pushing hard. He just about cleared before he got to Beckett, so didn't compromise it.
Lando Norris, personal best sector 1, absolute best sector 2. Fernando Alonso has just gone 3rd fastest in the Aston Martin. The 5 here.
Yeah, very nice, yeah.
He will come. George Russell struggling. He's only 14th out of only 15th. Remember, it's the now out on circuit with just 10 minutes and counting to the end of qualifying. So the time of the grid is hanging over Oliver Bearman and also Kimi Antonelli. Bearman then goes across the line. He's the first one to start a flying lap. But whatever he does, he's got to outtake. Worst is going to be, sorry, best is going to be 10th. Where he ends up, and then he'll apply that 10th place grid block. So he's up against it, but the fact that he's in Q3 is impressive.
his best ever start has been.
Right, okay. So he needs to be higher up in 10th, doesn't he, to avoid going to the sector, and as he does so, does a absolute best, goes a little bit quicker therefore than does Ollie Bearman, as you would anticipate, so by just under 600 of a second.
That's something we see quite often now, that the cars push into the net before the weekend pushes them hard. It's such a quickest style.
Oscar Piastri, absolute best sector 1, so Verstappen looked good, does look good, but it might not be good enough compared to the McLaren. Then on the strike sectors on this first fly back for everybody, so it will go purple, and he will do the time in terms of the people going faster. There's a slow Alpine with Pierre Gasly that gets out of the way beautifully, coming to the end of Vale. So Max Verstappen is about to walk on the top. Does a 125.267. The McLaren of Oscar Piastri. You've also got Lando Norris on track. So let's get Piastri over the line. Is he going to go quick? Oscar Piastri is 124.915. That's 2 times. It is 0.172 between the two McLarens, but it's Piastri ahead.
Russell in the last sector.
The temperature
Close the distance.
This is Alonso, he goes 7th. Fernando Alonso 125.802. And the top 8 covered by 9/10 of a second right now. But Lewis Hamilton going second there, 0.135 down on Piastri. That's impressive.
Yeah, Lewis looks to be on good form today. This year, his best Ferrari performance. And Verstappen saying on the radio how it's difficult, not happy with the car.
Yeah, Lewis was 4th in Austria as his best grid position of the season. So let's see what we can do here. So we've got time for another run. You're riding with Lewis coming out of Luffield through Woodcote now. The Ferrari going down towards turn 9, or Cops Corner as we call it over here. So Oscar Piastri the fastest by 0.135 of a second. And after any concern we had in the early qualifying, what wants to do the rest of the Ferraris look as though they're still competitive, don't they?
Yeah, 2nd and 5th for Hamilton and Leclerc. McLaren's 1st and 3rd. The Red Bull in 4th, Mercedes 6th and 9th. So if anything, it's Mercedes who've got to find some performance.
Yeah, both quite far away there. Russell quite far off the pace, more than you'd expect, 1.5 second off at the moment.
But after the weekend they've had, Fernando Alonso 7th, Pierre Gasly 10th, just for those two to be in Q3 is very impressive. So, to be in Q3 is a good effort, but so too for Alonso and, as I say, also Gasly.
Yeah, for Gasly, he's likely to be 8th on the grid with those penalties ahead, which is incredible.
Yes.
But he's had such a yo-yo season in qualifying. This is the 7th time he's got into Q3, into the top 10. But he's also gone out in Q1 4 times this year as well.
4th in Bahrain, wasn't he? But yeah, I mean, it's been a remarkable weekend for him. Every time we've heard from him on the radio, he's been really fed up. And yeah, as you say, with penalties, he's going to be able to get himself a further 2 grid spots out of this, which is quite a save.
Ever since Imola, Alonso has been in the top 10, apart from last weekend where he was 11th. So we have had improved performance from the Aston Martin since Imola, where he actually qualified 5th. Monaco, he started 6th. Then the next 2, Spain and Canada.
An extra special lap out in the first half of the session, that 1:24.995, a 10th and a half quicker than Hamilton, which is a perfect time. Just in the air, there is something's going to happen, something's going to change in this next couple of minutes.
Also, and down now to the end of Vale comes Lando Norris there with that and now Lando Norris starts the clock there for effectively one last go. The front lap is going to be
as well, personal best 27.6. Russell, last year's pole sitter, is on his push lap as well in the Mercedes. They're already through sector 1, and we've got Lando Norris coming out through Aintree now onto the Wellington straight.
Lando Norris then goes through Cops Corner, and the game absolutely on the limit, but it's so smooth and clean and inch perfect.
Mercedes,
Gets himself in the mix.
Go on, Lewis.
This is amazing. This leaves a clean last sector.
Yeah, could be a 44th career pole. Parkman in sector 1. Parkman in sector 2.
Second sector 3 in the year, he lost a 10th, but still got a 10th margin, so amazing.
Career pole 44, and he is fastest by over a 10.103 of a second. So that for Max Verstappen is a 4th pole of the season, and that pole was a bit of a surprise. We knew the car was going to be in, but they expect to be fastest.
You were motor racing, Max. That's pole position. Great job. What a lap. 24.8, mate. Pole position, British Grand Prix. Well done.
They're going to celebrate it.
That is simply lovely. Simply lovely.
Yeah, Silverstone have always been kind to Max. He had won the British Grand Prix. He won the 70th anniversary Grand Prix as well. But that was a great lap.
Yeah, it was a great lap. Seriously good.
Amazing. So Max Verstappen fastest. Bob, let's start with you. What are the takeaways from qualifying in terms of star efforts and surprises?
Getting it, just as you said, actually getting into the top 10. Also Gasly already in there. But that lap of Verstappen's going ahead of McLaren's extraordinary.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at Jamie in super slow mo, Lando Norris there, clenching the curb.
Yeah, both Norris, Piastri and Lewis made mistakes in sector 3 on this last lap. Just a more.
Yeah, Lewis, you talked about at the time, didn't you, putting a wheel on the dirt?
Yeah, and sliding through pit there. So, yeah, they didn't quite nail their final run, but actually Max did.
Yeah, 5th fastest for Lewis then in the end, behind George Russell, Lando for 3rd, Oscar for 2nd.